Okay, this is a screencast for lesson 2-2. We're going to make a basic spreadsheet with some really basic formulas. So the first thing you want to do is go to your Google Drive, and you'll get there by going to gmail.com, and then if you click on this button right here, it looks like calculator keys, click on Drive, and you will have a similar view. You probably don't have any spreadsheets in there yet, but then you want to click on New and Google Sheets. And you can change the title by clicking on the title, and we're going to call it Basics Tutorial, and then I want your last name, so Peters for me. For you, it's whatever your last name is. Okay, from there you're going to need to copy down some stuff from the lesson. There's a screenshot there. Also, you can use this if you want. Forgot to delete this stuff before we started. Okay, so this is what you should be starting with right here. So go ahead and start with that. So let's start with the sum formula. Sum means to add things together. So I'm going to try to add these numbers right here, and I want the sum to appear in this box. I've written sum, average, max, and min. I don't think that was in the screenshot in the lesson, so make sure you add that. So the first thing I want to do anytime I'm doing a formula is to start with an equal sign. That always has to be the start of your formula. And now I'm going to do sum. Write the word sum, and then I open parentheses, and I need to tell it what numbers to add together. So I have two choices. Notice that here it's giving me an example of what I would need to write down. So like A2 colon A100 means add cells A2 to A100. I want A2 to A8, so I'm going to go A2 to A8. Notice how it's now created that little highlighted section. Another thing that I could have done is to hit equals sum, open my parentheses, and then just actually highlight the cells and close parentheses. Okay, let's try average. So average is the mean. So I'm going to hit equals average, open parentheses, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I want those cells, I want the average of those cells. And yours might return a 15 because I've already formatted this cell. So let's say yours, oops, oh, I hit automatic. That's a new one. They've changed the formatting on Google Spreadsheets, so it's a little bit new to me too. So just know that if you hit automatic, you can get like the unrounded number. So that's new. All right, so number, what you probably saw was rounded to 0 decimal places, like that. So if you wanted the full number, click automatic, or if you want other decimal places, we're going to get to that in a second. So let's leave it at 15 for now. Equals. Now we want to know what's the maximum number in this data set, which is pretty obvious, but oops, if you had a really long list, it would be really helpful. And later on when you're making histograms, you might find it helpful to know the max because you're going to need to know how to make your bins. So let's do minimum. So we want to know the minimum number, close parentheses. All right, so those are just some like really basic formulas. Now in Excel, you can click on this button and it tells you other formulas. It's like a formula wizard. Unfortunately, Google Spreadsheet doesn't have that same thing right there. Okay, rounded to 0 decimal places. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these numbers right here and we want them to be rounded. So I'm going to actually copy them by highlighting them, and then I'm going to hit, because I have a Mac, Command C. If you don't have a Mac, you hit Control C. I want the numbers to be here, so I click on the top cell and I'm going to hit Command V, and that just pasted the numbers. Okay, now we want to round it to 0 decimal places. So they should be already highlighted. Hit Format, hit Number. And I recently used this function right here. So that may or may not appear for you. If it doesn't appear for you, hit more formats and custom number format, and you should find 0, and you can see what the number will look like, that sample number, and then hit apply. So there we are, they are all rounded. Okay, now we're going to write these as currencies. So since I already have it in my clipboard, I don't need to copy them again. I'm just going to hit Command V, and they're already highlighted. So format, number. This is currency to 2 decimal places, but I want currency rounded. So I'm going to do more formats, more currency, and then you won't see this. That was me messing around with stuff. This is 2 decimal places, see the 0.12, and then US dollar with no decimal places. I'm going to hit apply. There we go. Okay, now let's do 2 decimal places. That's actually easier. So another Command V to paste the same original numbers again. Go into format, number, and the default currency right here has 2 decimal places, so I'm going to click on that. And last one is percentage. So Command V, number, and percent. There we go. Huge percentages because they are all larger than 1, so that makes sense. Okay, let's talk quickly about pulling down formulas, so making our lives easier by not having to type formulas over and over again. So let's say I wanted to add these 2 numbers, and then I wanted to add these 2, and then I want to add these 2, and I want the sum to appear right here. Well, I could use the sum formula. I could go equals sum, and then highlight like that. Or I can even, because it's so basic, I can go equals this and then use the plus button, and then this, oops, wrong one, and then hit enter, same thing. So whatever your preference is fine. And notice that when I click on the cell that has the formula, I can see the formula right here. And if you double click, it will even, so it shows you the formula, and then it will show you what cells it's using. And then if you hit escape, that's how you get out of that. Okay, so now I have this formula here, and I want it to do the same thing in this cell. So I want 34 plus 11, the answer to be right here, and so on. So what I'm going to do is I have this cell highlighted that has the formula, and see how there's like a little box here? Click on that and pull that down. So what that did is it put the formula, notice that now the formula is for D12 and E12. Escape. And then double click there, you can see the formulas for D13 and E13. So that's basically it. You can find written directions in the assignment for all of this stuff. And now actually you need to submit this. So what you want to do is go File, and you want to, oh, this is a little different now. Let me just pause this and see what I need to do. Okay, so what you do is you go down to Download As, and the preferred thing for you to do is Microsoft Excel. The second preferred thing for you to do if you don't have Excel on your computer is to do a PDF. The only problem with PDF is that I can't actually look at your formulas. So if you have Excel, do that. I've had trouble opening these open document files, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. So if you hit Excel, so for me that just threw it into my downloads, and then I just went into downloads and I'm opening it now. So here it is, and then you're going to want to just save it. So like save as basics tutorial Peters, or whatever your last name is. I'm sure it's not Peters. And then hit save. So make sure you pick a good destination here that you know where to find it. Actually, I'm just going to put it on my desktop. And that's it. Now you can upload it to the Dropbox.